Who? It's calming. Is it a yellow or green? It looks kind of greenish. What's we're waiting on Marv? He'll show up eventually. Hey, look at that. Our closed captioning is working. Fancy. All right. Ready to go? All right, I'll call the work session to order. 6-month budget review. There we go. Does he know how to use that? I mean, it's been a little iffy.
Do you want them else? Do you want that?
Oh, there you go. Look at that.
Hey, Stephen, before you jump in, can I just set a little bit of tone, or are you gonna? Do you want me to? Or have you got it? Okay, well, I just want to make sure that everybody knows that we annually in May provide a mid-year report and then start looking at departmental needs and requests and highlights as we roll into the budget process. And this really works perfectly this year by rolling tomorrow into the retreat, where we'll spend a lot of time on the budget process, looking for priorities from the governing body. So this sets the tone and provides some background information for what we will roll into tomorrow. And Stephen and the department directors and staff in all the departments have been very busy since February working to put this information together. So thank you, Stephen, for all of that.
All right, well, it's a pleasure tonight to bring you the 6-month fiscal year 2023 budget update for tonight's work session. And the clicker just worked. We just practiced. Just take the mouse.
Well,
Probably so. Cursed it. Ready to go, Linda.
there we go.
Thank you. Okay. Tonight, just to preface the financial update, the board has approved a number of budget amendments throughout the agendas this year. Approved 4 budget amendments, 3 of them related to capital improvement projects. As those projects have come in, we've adjusted budgets for some overages in the projects and taking advantage of some of the higher performing sales tax activity and giving us the ability to pay for those overages. So budget amendments are listed there. And so we'll jump in and review the general fund through 6 months. Our budget this year for fiscal year 2023 for revenues, we budgeted about 5.4 million in revenues. And you can see there we're performing pretty well through 6 months with 3.6 received year to date, 3.6 million. We're projecting to bring in about 5.9 million. And so that gives us about $500,000 additional revenue over the budgeted amount. A lot of that is bolstered there in the bullet point by the performance of property tax, sales tax, and interest earnings from the cash on hand that the city has in the bank account. As you work down the table on the expenditure side, we've budgeted 6.4 for fiscal year 2023, and we're projecting to spend just about every penny of that. We have a little bit of savings from some vacancies and other operational savings we've had this year. Year to date, we've spent 2.8. And on the project tracker below, we've awarded bids on the 2023 street maintenance program in Quincy. And we also have a couple programs, just opened our bids today on the sidewalk program. Get started on that shortly. And the Litton Center renovation has not started yet. Looking a little closer at property tax revenue. Again, this is a highlight of general fund revenues this year. We budgeted $1,043,000, projecting to bring in 1.1. And through 6 months, we've exceeded the budget at this time at $1,077,000. Average annual increase, the third bullet down there, we're seeing about 5.5% year over year. If you go back your last 5 years and look at the trend, we've seen steady increases in property tax revenue in the city. When you look at your 3-year trend history, you can see actuals at this time through 6 months exceed the 2 prior years. And we're seeing gains of about $60,000 from 21 to 22, and about another 100,000 from 22 to 23. On your 1% city sales tax, our budget this year is 1.3. We're projecting to bring in about 136, and year to date, we've brought in over half the budget amount at 704. So that looks really good. Typically at this point, we bring in 44% of what we end up bringing in at the end of the year. So to see that budgeted number at 54% over the 44, that looks great through 6 months. Here's the 3-year trend history for the sales tax. Again, looking at the orange bars, you can see that year to date actuals through 6 months are about $120,000 higher than 2022. So again, some of that due to consumer inflation, everyday goods and services getting more expensive, but it also reflects local growth in the economy for the city of Smithville and more business activity, restaurants, businesses working in the city. I'll switch gears here and talk a little bit about use tax. This is one impact area that Cynthia and I are continuing to study each month and see how the revenues come in. You can see the budget for use tax was $695,000 when we established the budget for this year. We are projecting to bring in a lower amount than that budget at this time. And year to date, we've only brought in 323. So we haven't hit half of the budget through 6 months. So it's a little bit of some concern. We have other revenues in the general fund that are really performing well that make up this little bit of deficit. But last year, coming out of COVID-19, we had a lot of online consumer activity. And with the surge in inflation last year, our theory is a lot of residents are getting back to brick and mortar stores, retail stores, and spending a bulk of their available income on those core goods and services every day, and maybe letting some of those discretionary purchases go. So use tax down a little bit here. Last couple months, February, March, and April, we've seen those distributions start to drop off. So we'll continue to monitor that and adjust that projection accordingly. And you can see here in the 3-year trend chart, the orange bars in the middle, you can see through 6 months, we are trailing where we were last year at 359. And we're only at 323 so far. So we're about 35,000 off the mark from last year. I want to point out 2 more areas of impact in the general fund: building permits on the left and interest income on the right. Building permits are behind where we were at Q2 last year. We just have less lots, less parcels available, less activity overall. We do have some more permits that are starting to roll in. So we'll have another update in Q3 and see if we've caught up a little bit. On the right with interest income, our savings at central bank tied to the treasury bill rate, that is significantly up over last year and the year before. As interest rates have climbed, we've been able to take advantage of the higher interest rates and the cash on hand. When you apply that rate to that, it just generates more dollars every month at the bank. So we see a substantial growth there. That puts us in a position of saving or using less fund balance than what we originally budgeted. If you look at the chart here and you look at the middle column, that was our original budget for 2023. We budgeted this 5.4 in revenues, 6.3, and plan to use just over 800,000 in fund balance. Because of those additional revenues at this time and expenses staying steady with our budget amendments, we've brought that up over the original budget. We're planning to use just over 450,000 in fund balance, so less than the original budget. Click there. And then this next chart is just showing the long-term history as fund balance as a percentage of operating expenditures. You'll see on the blue line, last year in August, the board approved a reduction in the percentage of fund balance of operating expenditures that we carry in the general fund. We reduced that from 40 to 25%. And with that, we've used some of that fund balance down, trying to make strategic investments in personnel and human infrastructure and physical infrastructure. So we have lowered that percentage When we had our audited financial statements, we lowered that to 58.5% in 22, and would project to have that lowered down to 46% in 2023. Any questions on the general fund? Okay, we'll look at our special sales tax funds here. Capital improvement sales tax is one of our funds this year. One of the big projects it's funding is Streetscape Phase 3, pictured there on the left. The budget this year is about 1.1 million in revenues. That includes a 488,000, about a $500,000 MoDOT reimbursement as a portion of that revenue, and then the rest is sales tax. Year to date, we've only received about 30% of those revenues, that being all the sales tax. So when we start in on Streetscape 3 and submit those pay apps for reimbursement, we'll see those revenues climb. On the expense side, projecting to use all the expenditures available for budget 1.3, and we've used about 32% of the budget. In progress on the engineering for Streetscape. Bid is awarded for Quincy, and we'll award bid soon for Streetscape 3 construction. Same story on this sales tax, performing well, 2023 over 2022, up about $70,000. On the transportation sales tax, the revenues this year for this fund, about 590,000. Our projection is close to 640. Year to date, we've brought in 326. So the financials look good there. This year, we have a budget of nearly $1 million as we go to do the projects listed in the table. Funding for the road reconstruction on 4th Street and 4th Terrace, our street maintenance program, and road reconstruction on Quincy. All of those projects will start soon, and we'll start spending the funds. That's why you only see about 13% of the budget expended at this time. We haven't started in on a bulk of those projects. You can see there again, the orange bar in 2023, greater than 2022, about $60,000 greater. Okay, we'll look at the water and sewer fund here, one of the biggest funds that the city has. The budget this year in revenues was 9.3. We're projecting to bring in just over that at 9.4. A big case of those revenues are the COP debt proceeds for the lift station at 3.9. In talking with Chuck, that project's probably gonna be awarded closer to the end of the year. So in Q3, our budget update, we'll make an update and show the board the impact of that, and we'll adjust our projections. If the expenditures and the revenues plan to come in November of 2023, it'd fall in the next fiscal year. So we'd see those moved out of this year. Here's our project progress. One of the largest capital plans in the whole city is in the utilities fund. We've completed a number of projects there, 5 projects listed that are completed, number of engineering contracts in progress, number of contracts awarded that will start soon, and then just a few left that haven't started yet or have had bids awarded. Then just a revenue highlight on the water and sewer fund. Both water sales and wastewater sales are performing well, and both are projecting over their revenue budgets. And then the side-by-side comparison of each revenue, you can see in the orange columns, as we've made rate adjustments to bring in additional revenue to pay for that water and sewer infrastructure, the city has generated more revenue, indicated in the orange. Bottom line on the water and sewer fund is with some of the additional revenues we're bringing in and some of the savings we've had in projects and pushing that to next year, we're going to use less in fund balance, projecting to use about 2.5 in fund balance. And as we get to Q3, we'll provide an update on where we stand on that. Quick update on the trash fund. This is really just an in and out fund, and point here is to look and see how close our revenues and our expenses are. Only about a $4,000 difference at this point through 6 months. So that looks great. Expenses are typically a little bit higher than revenues just because of the household hazardous waste program getting paid for early in the fiscal year. A few more slides here to finish up. Park and stormwater sales tax fund, again, projecting over the budget, projection of 723 on a budget of 672, brought in 55% of the budget. And then you can see on the expense side, we still have some pretty big projects coming this way for the fund. It includes the stormwater improvements on 4th Street Terrace and Quincy Boulevard. And that's why your expenditure number is so low there at 11%. GBA did our master plan for stormwater. That's been completed. And then the engineering for 4th Street and 4th Terrace, that's been completed. Those are really the bulk of the expenditures in the fund right now. Vehicle and equipment replacement fund, you can see on the left there, like it's unit 41, if I'm not mistaken. Again, we have that vehicle now back in the parking lot with graphics and lights. That's our new 2023 Ford Police Interceptor. And it's a much needed replace for our aging patrol vehicles. On the revenue side for the VERF, we've done our annual transfer into the VERF, and we've also sold in-house vehicles on auction and done equity flips that have generated about $84,000. So we've routed those revenues into the fund. And then below, the lease cost is about 161. And we're currently leasing 25 vehicles with Enterprise. That does not include the 8 Interceptors that are on order. So when we get those 8 added to the fleet, that would bring us up to 33 vehicles that we would lease, and with a few more replacements planned after that. So a substantial amount of the fleet has been changed out, but we still have some more vehicles to go. Important thing there is revenues and expenditures pretty close on the fund, which is good at this point. Just monitoring that activity through 6 months and watching how vehicles do on the auction block, how much value they're bringing in, and comparing that to the lease expense. And just to wrap this up, the ARPA fund, we're using these federal funds for our raw water pump station. We have one more interest earnings revenue that we'll record at the end of the year. And then on the expenditure side, we have $470,000 left on the raw water pump station contract. Project's pretty much been completed. There's a short punch list to do, but our final invoices and our final uses of the ARPA monies, we'll use them up by July or August, and that will wrap the fund up. Really looking at a budget review through 6 months, concluding remarks, property, sales tax, interest earnings, those are all bright spots in general fund revenues. And then both use tax and building permits are 2 areas of concern that we're still looking at. And then on the expenditure side, finishing Q2, city departments are fully staffed, and that's going to result in lower vacancy savings. So we expect to really fully utilize the entire general fund budget with pretty little savings. And then second bullet there, capital, we've talked about this, capital budget spending is pretty significant this year. So as we get bids in, we've seen overages and we've had to adjust our forecasts, ensure that we have enough money to pay for those items. So that's been an ongoing challenge this year. Any questions from the board on our 6-month update? Yeah.
On the marijuana sales tax, when will we see, or have we seen yet any of that? And is that going to go on the use tax or use tax or sales tax? I don't know what it is.
October 1st, full quarter following the election, so they won't even go into their POS system until October 1st.
Okay.
So we
Okay.
won't see it until maybe January.
Is that being captured already? We won't see it yet, but it's not even being captured yet? Okay.
No. Well,
The October following the April election.
Okay.
and in talking with Cynthia, we'll have to be careful in how we talk about that particular stream, since we just have Besa May in town. We want to be careful to protect that sales tax data, since it is proprietary. So the way we report it, probably report it with city sales tax, but it's certainly not going to, be called out in a public venue.
State law doesn't allow us to see individual business sales taxes. So when we were reporting on Marketplace, until they had a certain number of businesses, we couldn't see what Marketplace was generating. Since we only have one business that would charge marijuana sales tax and it's going in a general fund, we'll see an increase possibly in general fund if there is an increase, but we won't see that individual sales tax ever. Unless we have over 6 dispensaries in town, which will never happen based on the way that law is written.
If I can clarify also, you all won't receive that information. Stephen has access to that and can look at that, but under threat of law, he can't tell you the information. I'm being facetious, but we have to protect that information for that business. One thing that we will note, and we'll talk about this a little tomorrow, starting in February, the sale of recreational marijuana was included, and we are able to review the monthly receipts we receive from BSMA to see what type of an impact that might make on the 1% existing. It has an impact. We're monitoring that, but we only really have 2 months worth of information on that. And as we'll talk about at the retreat tomorrow, our plan at this point is based on the information we see. We think those estimates from the state of $150,000 per outlet are probably close, but maybe a little aggressive. So we will plug some projections into the general fund balance, and you'll see that, to the general fund sales tax information. And so we'll have those available. And then when we look at budget, I don't know that we'll be able to put anything specifically toward things, but we will look at and bring information forward if we have an impact to be able to have discussions. Does that make sense? Because we do have to be careful of protecting that information.
Understood. Thank you, Stephen. And on the 8 backorder vehicles, are we catching up any? Is it looking better as far as this coming year, or
There's one in the parking lot.
still? Yep,
Yeah.
got that one?
Yeah, I mean, there's been some delays with the police vehicles, but I think, and we're working on the coordination with them, but getting that one in the parking lot yesterday, I was thrilled to see it come to the city yesterday, and I think we're gonna continue to see them coming in here next couple of months.
I can't tell you, we've got one in the parking lot, there's another one sitting at a vendor that's waiting to have decals put on it. I laid eyes on it, and actually physically touched it, so I know it's real. Yesterday we picked this one up. And we believe we've got at least one in the metro area. Well, we've confirmed we got at least one in the metro area at a dealership. And there are 2 are pending order for a production date. And then the other 3 show order accepted on them. So cross your fingers, think happy thoughts.
And
And
Steve,
It's a
go
great
ahead.
car.
Oh, I was just gonna say, Matt Denton, Parks and Rec Director, they received their boom truck maybe a month ago, and that was a really important piece of equipment for them to use, and their staff are utilizing it a lot daily. So there's been some significant vehicles that have come in the last couple months, apart from just the police interceptors as well. So we're starting to catch up on the projection and what we're trying to get from enterprise. There's been a lot of that happening in the last couple months. So.
Thank you.
And I'll just jump in a little bit on the VERF as well. Stephen and I and others in the organization have spent a good amount of time reviewing that information. When we decided to move into a leased program, it was right in the very beginning of pandemic shutdowns. We didn't know what supply chain issues were going to happen or what interest rates would happen. Both of those have affected our bottom line and our numbers. And you'll see that in some of the stuff we talk through tomorrow. You'll particularly see it in the amount of transfer we need to make to the VERF fund from the general fund. Steve and I have had, like I said, long discussions on this, and we really have started to view this as a significant investment in order to be able to provide the equipment that we need, because in reality, we were not spending a lot annually in the past on vehicles. Once we have the whole fleet up to date, we will have a new fleet. We will have fleet management by enterprise helping us navigate when to sell those vehicles to be able to capture the best resale and the best use. We also really anticipate seeing a change in our maintenance costs. There are some months right now that the stack of bills from Ride Automotive for police department vehicles is voluminous and is not inexpensive. So we are continuing to monitor that as well, and we think we'll see some change there. But the investment is more than we thought it was going to be, and it does have an impact on the budget and will affect our discussions tomorrow.
Stephen, just a clarification. So the 144th lift station, we do have some engineering, but if we don't, I know there's a lot of behind the scenes things happening, but if that doesn't happen this budget year, we'll just push that to the next year, correct?
Yeah, and in fact, I think when we go ahead and we don't have our budget calendar in front of us right now. I'll review it in the next presentation, but when we go through our operating discussion and CIP discussion, I think we'll pull that project into there for next year so that we see that already budgeted for next year, and we'll take it out of this year in terms of the projected forecast. As we know, the bid award maybe mid-November. So that would put it into the next fiscal year for receiving the COP proceeds and doing the disbursements for project expense.
One of the issues there on timing is property acquisition, and Chuck has been very involved in that in the last few months, and is in the throes of discussions with a handful. Say I had 6, but it's 4 property owners, so that continues, and those are going to be time consuming. You saw action on those, and that continues, as does design. But design is closing in. Part of it, we need to make sure that we've got that right away to be able to complete design. So there's a little bit of chicken and egg there.
I want to go back to the VERF for a minute, and maybe this is more discussion for tomorrow. If it looks like in this budget year of 2023, we're doing really good in some other areas, can we look at doing a one-time transfer over to VERF, continue in the 2023 budget, and maybe a smaller impact on the annual contribution that's made to that?
All kinds of things we can look at, all kinds of things that can have an impact on down the road. And so, yeah, there are several things that and actually Stephen and I have had those conversations. What you're going to see, what we have tonight, what we're rolling into the budget next year, we'll have a full story for tomorrow too. How's that to just tantalize the day?
Fair enough.
Okay. Whoa. Sorry. I'll give you the mouse back.
Okay. Departmental budget presentation. Who's up first? You gotta sit down for a second.
1 second breaks just enough. All right, we'll transition from our budget update to talk about our fiscal year 2024 department review, tonight's work session. This department review, really, as Cynthia prefaced before the update, it kicks off our fiscal year 2024 budget process. So we start with our department review, and really the purpose of the department review is it's an opportunity for all our city directors to highlight their recent accomplishments and successes that they've had in their departments and with their staff. And at the same time, it also is the opportunity to let the board know and identify what they see as future goals and needs of the departments, and it allows you to have a discussion about those, and it sets the stage for the budget process. Throughout the presentation, as we go through it, you're going to see their accomplishments, their successes, and then a budget summary with categories of expenses and org charts. So really just designed to give you kind of a comprehensive look at the department and an opportunity to ask them questions as they talk about those accomplishments and their needs. So with that, I will transition to Gina, and she'll discuss the administration department.
All right, good evening, everyone. So for the administration department, we've had a number of accomplishments this past year. We've continued our partnership with the Smithsville Main Street. In addition, the board adopted the Economic Development Incentives Policy in August, and that was prepared by the EDC. And that has been a tremendous help for developers to look at and community members to look at as well. We've done a number of communication improvements with our bi-monthly citizen newsletters, the big takeaways that are posted on social media and the website, a communications campaign for the citizen newsletter results. Did you know article posted by Linda each week on different topics. And then we also did a website redesign on our city website just to update it with current themes and easier navigation for users. In addition, we have started doing a highlight of upcoming Board of Aldermen agendas, just so people stay in the know of what's coming up at these meetings. And we've also increased the number of training opportunities for employees, ranging from retirement benefits to stress and wellness challenges. That's part of the accomplishments as well. We have improved our employee wellness program with lunch and learns and wellness challenges for employees. Additionally, this was the second year that we administered the Neighborhood Beautification Grant Program. And neighborhoods are really happy about that program and always thank the city that we have that. In addition, we worked with Main Street to accomplish the wayfinding signage and design guideline, and we were awarded a grant through the ARPA Tourism Grant. And we also replaced 2 of our servers.
Hey, Gina, before you move on, I
Yes.
do want to highlight in the area of the communications. Since I started here, communication has been a goal of the governing body, and we struggle. It's hard because short of kind of a personal letter to everyone delivered to their house, you have to struggle and find the right balance. But you see the number of ways that we're trying to provide different information to various people and groups in the community, whether it's increasing the frequency of the newsletter, providing different information on social media or different social media platforms, upgrading the website. We're trying to approach that in different ways. And I really want to commend staff. Gina and Linda have really worked hard. In addition to the information you see here, we've also started an internal communications team. So we have staff from all the departments who get together on a monthly basis, and they are reviewing the message and the information that we're providing so that we're ensuring that we're sharing information for all of our sites by all of the different participants throughout the city, but then also what is the information that needs to be provided. So we're working very, very diligently to provide as much information as possible in a variety of ways through a different set of resources.
All right. And so for 2024 budget discussion points, continuing our Smithville Main Street contract. And then something new is an agreement with the Chamber of Commerce for assistance with special projects, kind of reaching out to businesses and creating more resources for businesses in Smithville. So that'll be something that we discuss tomorrow, and all of these discussion points will be topics of discussion at the retreat as well. Continuation of the Neighborhood Beautification Grant. We have included $25,000. It's the same amount that we've done in previous years in the proposed budget. Establishing a laptop replacement program. A lot of our laptops are aging. If you talk to Stephen, you'll find out that he has a hard time connecting to the HDMI on the TV. So just getting those kind of programs in place so we don't have issues with computers in the future.
Okay, I'm gonna jump in real quick. It's just not so we can watch TV, it's that we can work on stuff on the big screen in the conference room. Just making
yes,
sure
it
doesn't
is
sound like
for-
it's to watch the ball
It is
game.
for budget presentations, so.
And I will jump in quickly. A lot of our laptops were purchased in 2000 when we transitioned to work from home. And so those are 3 years old or plus. And so, what did I say? 2000? You know, it's been a long 3 years, 2020, not 20.
2020 and what was available,
Yeah.
Correct.
not what was needed, what was
Yeah.
available.
What was available. That
Yes.
absolutely, yes.
Yeah, when everyone was purchasing laptops,
Yeah.
so. And a next item is establishment of a citizens academy. This would be an educational program for citizens of Smithfield to learn more about how government works, and just get more of a deeper knowledge of the different departments. Wayfinding signage, like I mentioned in the accomplishments, we got the design and guidelines. So the next step is the actual fabrication and installation of the signage. So that'll be a consideration for the budget for future years, and it can definitely be a phased project. Employee relations, including more enhancements to our wellness program, a lot of trainings will be implemented with an increased budget and bringing people in to do lunch and learns for staff, additional challenges, basically any kind of way that we can get people more involved with their wellness. A citywide focus on training in general. We've seen that as a need just to enhance our professional development for our employees. We need to budget a little bit more funding for the training for them. Compensation and merit pool. That's a thing we look at each year based on CPI, and the merit pools based on employee performance. And retirement enhancement, we do have our loggers program, and we do have the option for employees to contribute into a 457B plan, which is similar to a 401k. So that'll be conversations for tomorrow. And then additionally, website enhancements through our website contract with municipal CMS. They have options for more user-friendly tools on our website for forms, online employee applications, and things of that nature. So those are just the discussion points for administration.
And I will note as we go through the budget, those discussion points, some of those items are included in the budget that we have drafted right now. Others are items that aren't yet funded. We have that information for you for tomorrow to work through too. There are some things we want to highlight and let you all know what's included, what's not, and where that puts us on funding levels, and try to establish some priorities there.
Yeah.
A lot of fun tomorrow.
Yeah. Any questions on any of the administration updates? Great.
Okay, take you through the. Thank you. All right, Finance Department, looking at what this department accomplished in the last year. First bullet, this is a major accomplishment for the department. We've received the GFWA Distinguished Budget Award now for the 4th straight year. So we started with I think it was our 2018 fiscal year budget, and we've now received it 4 straight years. So we've got another pin to put on the plaque out in the lobby, which is great. This year, our department also implemented our positive pay, ACH, and check fraud program. That program is designed to prevent check washing or different types of check fraud and potential ACH fraud. The bank reached out to us last year and told us of another public entity that had experienced this issue. So we were proactive on that, got that program implemented, and now have that prevention mechanism in place going forward. We implemented, with the help from the board, recommendation from the board, our office implemented a senior citizen 15% discount last year during the budget process. That's a 15% discount off the standard rate for the monthly water and wastewater fixed charge. That recommendation came out of last year's retreat, and we implemented that in the budget last year. Our department also created a completed CIP projects page. This page features about 10 to 15 pretty significant CIP projects that have been completed in the city in the last 4 to 5 years. It reflects over $24 million in infrastructure investment in the city. And it breaks it down by year. Parks, water and sewer, street improvements, they're all listed on the page. Our office also worked to promote the use of digital utility billing by email, and that work resulted in the percentage of our utility customers to get their bills via email. A few years ago, we started that program, and when we looked at our statistics recently to get this information ready to share with you, we found that we had 15% of our total customers getting their bills by email. It helps save paper. It's good for the environment, saves cost as well. Peregrine doesn't have to send those bills out and they just go through email. Finally, our department worked with each of you, governing body, to develop a new utility disconnection policy. It extended the amount of time that our utilities customers have to pay until shutoff occurs. In looking at the disconnection statistics, we have seen those start to trend downwards. And honestly, at this point, it's less than 0.5% of all customers that are getting disconnected. It's a very, very small number, typically now under 30 disconnections per month. Looking at our 2024 discussion points, this year, our office is going to coordinate the migration from version 9 to 10 of Tyler Technologies ERP Pro. That's going to bring enhancements to human resources, utility billing, finance. We're going to provide support and training to city departments as well as the development department. They'll have updates that'll help their staff with their work. We're going to explore and evaluate the benefits of automating our AP and cloud storage capabilities. We're going to see if those can bring more efficiency to the AP process, as well as allow us to digitally store AR and AP backup on the cloud and allow us to have access to a lot more resources. Our office is going to assist with the bond rating process for the issuance of debt for the 2023 COP that would be used to fund 144th Street Lift Station. Our office is also looking to improve the breakdown of our utility bill so that we can show our utility customers their fixed rates, their volume charges, and whether they have a senior rate or not. So it brings some more transparency and clarity to the utility bill for the customers. We're also looking to update our utility rate model and provide recommendations to you this summer, given all the operational capital expense in the utility fund. And this is the bulk of our work. We give quality customer service to over 4,200 accounts every month. And we do that with myself and 3 people. So we get a lot of calls every day. We try to provide good customer service to all those accounts. So with that, I'll turn it over to Chief Lockridge and talk about the police department.
Afternoon, evening. You'll notice here on the left, we've got an org chart for our department. We've got 10 full-time police officers, 4 full-time police sergeants, which are your frontline supervision, 2 detectives, 2 SROs, a captain, administrative assistant / prosecutor's assistant, and myself. And thankfully, for the duration of this budget year so far, we've been fully staffed. And we've got some deployments and an injury, but still they're filled, and we're hopefully we trend that way. If you look on the right side there, you'll see a key accomplishments. Up at the top is a summary and kind of a projection for 23 on calls for service. You'll notice all those are trending back up from 2020 and the impact that had on our call volume. So far this year, we filled vacant promotions as a detective position and the vacant SRO assignment. We completed numerous technology upgrades to include MDTs, mobile data terminals in the cars, expansion in video storage there are just 2 of them. The department's purchased its first drone and completed pilot training that was funded through private donations. We expect to purchase a second drone on a grant that's been awarded. We're just waiting for the grant cycle to come around and the funds to be available. And we actually have already trained and licensed 2 additional pilots 2 weeks ago. We started implementation process for a procedure manual that will work hand in hand with our policy manual to help our personnel and to help with risk management. We've purchased one used police car to replace a car that was severely damaged while parked on the side of the road. We've replaced 4 tasers, which is our annual replacement allocation that we've been doing for years, trying to keep those items under manufacturer's warranty. And we started the replacement process for our 8 patrol cars, as Stephen said. If you look outside when you leave or brake to the west, if you look down the line of cars, you'll pick out one that the front end is completely different than the other one. That's a new one. We got called at about 8:11 yesterday morning, and in about 47 minutes, we had picked it up and we're headed back to Smithville. So we're happy there. If you look on the next slide there on the left is kind of a snapshot of our budget. And you'll see that the lion's share of that goes to our most important capital item, that's personnel. Kind of discussion points, looking to the future, looking to next year, we're going to have consideration for 2 additional officers and associated equipment and vehicles. Consideration for replacement of current handguns, replacement of the second half of our mobile data terminals and our patrol cars. That's the other 4 there. We're going to continue our taser replacement program. We're going to continue to train and develop new staff, particularly with the numbers we've hired over the last 18 months. And one that we're very excited about is implementing mental health wellness checks as required by state statute. So that's kind of a big 30,000-foot view snapshot there. Does anybody have any questions?
Chief, on the police car that was totaled, was the city's insurance cover that and then issue a payment to us as?
Yes. Yes, we worked with our insurance company and with the other insurance company through that whole process, and it went as smooth as it could go with any insurance company. So
We also retired that car number and it'll never be used again.
not while I'm here, no. So that was the second time that vehicle number had been struck sitting on the side of the road and totaled. Both times within about 1/10 of a mile of each other. So we're done with that car number.
42 is retired.
So like people, police cars have bad luck as well.
Occasionally, yes, sir. Anyone have anything else?
I've driven a lot of police cars and I do agree that a police car in general can have a bad luck.
Sometimes there's just karma there, and sometimes it's just you do what you need to do. So. I'm gonna turn everything over to you guys.
I don't want to take that car anymore.
The one with flames on it that was fast. I always, even when I sit in the parking lot.
I remember having a car that we took it to the garage to get it fixed. It was squeaking. And they sprayed some WD-40 on it. We went back out and the wheel fell off.
Smooth, it fell off smoothly though.
It didn't make a squeak.
It wasn't that smooth.
Good evening. As Chief laid out his conversation to you, our department structure is on the left. We are now back to full staff. We had an inspector leave in January and we now have a new inspector who's been here over a month now. So we're back to full staff. Our accomplishments for the 2022-2023 year. We're primarily focused, other than the operational stuff of how many inspections does the code enforcement do, or how many building inspections are handled in a timely manner, or permits issued. The only other significant thing we do is implement the comprehensive plan. We have kind of hit pretty hard on one of the goals, the supporting the additional housing stock portion of it. We've had various conversations in the planning commission level and this board level. But we will keep it at 316 housing units have been approved, at least at one subdivision. We have others that are out there. We'll see where they end up. Excuse me. We've also, as Gina mentioned, the wayfinding plan is a comprehensive plan goal, and it's been adopted by you all. So that will start to work down that small town feel portion. We've also worked with developers to add several commercial and retail lots to our potential inventory. Richardson Street Plaza and McBee's Corner were the previous budget year, but the work's going on now. So Richardson Street Plaza, you can see the retaining walls up. They will be doing their water line shortly, and soon after that, I would anticipate the rest of the development will be ready for the 3 lots and 4 buildings that would go there. McBee's Corner has 2 lots, one of which is under construction. Significantly, you've seen it, the building's going up. I'm starting to make progress. And recently have had approval of Fairview Crossing and Fairview Crossing North issues associated with those, bringing 16 commercial lots. All of it'll be retail. So we've been making progress along those 2 primary goals. I'm not certain where I can't see anything. Just
Just
roll it.
click anywhere, yeah. There you go.
There we go. I couldn't see anything, so need new glasses, but that's not in the budget right now. Our budget is identified up there, and as Chief mentioned, the vast majority of our budget is in the personnel. It's the people that are doing the things in our department. Our 2024 discussion points, we will continue working with the comprehensive plan action items. One of which was in the last budget conversation. It's in this one as well. And I'm sure we'll be talking about it, options on how to do it in tomorrow's discussion as well. And that's the south zoning overlay conversation on the west side of 169, just south of Amory there. Estimated cost is there as shown. We too will continue to provide training and education for staff so they can increase their certifications. For us, every certification that our staff member does when we get audited by the Building Code Enforcement Group survey, the ISO certification, the more certifications we have, the higher our score, which means the lower the rating, and the lower the rating means lower insurance rates for new buildings. So there is a direct impact on our citizens when our folks are trained, and we want to continue the improvement on that level. And then as Stephen mentioned earlier as well, the ERP Pro 10 migration will include hopefully a provision that will allow us to go online so that the inspections, the ordering of the inspections, everything can occur online. It'll expedite our efficiency. If y'all have any questions,
Jack, I have a question. Just on slide 9, you show goal of HEN 1.1 and ST 1.1. Where are those at now? Is there a 1.2, 1.3?
Yeah.
Where are those at?
Yes, they are the, I think it starts at page 72 of the comprehensive plan, I think. But those goals are based upon the 5 strategic pillars. So HN is housing, and then ST is small town feel. So yes, there are, the only one that has a limited number of items is the educational provision. It only has 4 items on it. The rest of them, housing, business and economics, all the other ones have anywhere from 9 to 20 different action items. And they are also in the appendices at the back of the comprehensive plan, organized by either priority or by the timing.
Yeah, we got them displayed in multiple ways so we can look at them.
And along those lines, we have staff's been working on a dashboard that will be a little more visually pleasing and easy to understand. And when I say staff other than me, because I can't do that kind of stuff. But we have staff that are very, very dynamic in it. Sortable, she's got it figured out, it looks like. So hopefully in the next couple of months, we'll be presenting that to you and hopefully putting it on the website so it'll be accessible to the citizens. They can see where everything rolls out. Thank you. Sure. Thank you. Oh, I got you.
Matt came back just from vacation just for this.
Just for you guys. All right, we'll start with the department structure. So as you can see, we have 2 supervisors, a recreation manager and our parks maintenance crew leader. Our recreation manager now has someone underneath her now, Alex. By your guys' direction, we hired the recreation coordinator back in November of 2022. She just getting ready to hit 6 months. But it's been really appreciative, definitely, to Alex as a recreation manager as she came in new herself. It gave her time to learn and not be so stressed with the multiple hats that position wears. On the park side, we have a park maintenance crew leader, park maintenance 2. We had promotion in November or October timeframe. And then we have a park maintenance 1. Park maintenance 1 is actually deployed right now, but we had a good return of part-time staff. So we kind of took the police way of this. We overhired a little bit of the part-time staff to make sure that we had enough coverage throughout the summer with projects and activities going on. So we had another significant year in our parks department. We were able to complete an array of projects as a team. Starting off in just a year and a half, we've completed or in progress of 6 of the 9 short-term goals in the Parks and Rec Master Plan. Those goals are scheduled to be completed in 3 to 4 year timeline. Park signage, the Diamond Crest Park, we were able to put in the playground, the fencing and sidewalk. And then we've started on the Emerald Ridge Neighborhood Park with our Parks and Recreation Committee and kind of waiting on a few things. We'll talk a little bit more about that tomorrow. The seniors continue to express positive feedback regarding senior fitnesses. Senior fitness classes, we have some great instructors that are in there. We're continuing to grow those, and we were able to expand that in 2022 with the Clay County Senior Services Grants. Also, kind of staying in the senior center, it's not up there, but senior rentals in 2021 were $4,000 in rental revenue. In 2022, we were about 5,700. So an increase there. We're already seeing an increase going into 2023 by the end of the year. With your guys' direction, we worked with the city attorney and the senior board to approve a new contract as that came to the term that ended this year. And then park staff was able to complete the painting of the senior center in December in 2022. And this was an effort to create a more inviting space for the seniors and rentals. We continue to grow participation in our rec programs. In 2021, we had about 1,000 total participants, and in 2022, we had 1,100. Alex and Aspen are working hard to grow our programs, expand different offerings, and kind of look outside of sports and do some more programming that can get others involved in different ways. We held our first Parks and Recreation Committee and Legacy Fund fundraiser. Some of you attended that. It was a great event, and the mayor worked really hard with the chamber, myself, and we were able to put on a very, I think, successful event. We raised about $24,000 in there, and that was split between us and the chamber with that.
February 29, 2024. Get your
Yep.
tickets.
And so that's great because that legacy fund is to help close the gap and some further down the line funding as we get into our smaller projects that the Parks and Stormwater Sales Tax won't be able to fund directly. So we also incurred no restroom related report concerns issues. This was the second year in a row. We are continuing to see vandalism in our parks and restrooms, but we're working to figure out cameras. The mayor has donated 3 cameras to us so far, and those have helped. I've worked with Captain Roteman on getting those together and working with detectives on when we get those vandalisms in that way.
Did you just take it off the website so they can't report a concern anymore?
Right. Hide it. Yeah.
I know the phone
yeah.
number's on the door, so
Yeah.
people do call and it's nice.
Yeah. So we continue to work on multiple Eagle Scout projects. Some great ones were completed this year, especially at the Eagles or Boy Scout area out at Smiths Fork Park. And then trying to think what the last one was. Oh, and we hired the recreation coordinator position. So
Aspen.
yep. 2024 discussion points. We want to continue to prioritize and identify parks and recreation projects out of the Parks and Rec plan. Right now, we've already worked with the Parks and Rec committee to look at designing Emerald Ridge Park. One thing that was brought in our Parks and Rec committee was the discussion of using payment in lieu of dedication funds. Those are development funds that come across. And talking with Jack a few months ago, we had about 85,000 in there. And he's recently sent me a new update that more are coming this way. So what the Parks and Rec committee was really wanting to look at was resurfacing Heritage Park Playground. When that was designed in 2018, we didn't have the full funds to do the servicing, kind of a hard servicing, because there is continued maintenance with the playground mulch. So we want to look at servicing that into a better surface. And if you've been down to Smiths Fork Park Playground, that playground was put in 2005. It was resurfaced and patched in 2017, 2018. And so it's also hitting its deterioration. It's kind of falling apart. People have been picking at it and it's looking a little rough. So we want to look at resurfacing both of those playgrounds using the payment in lieu of dedication funds, and then also using some park and stormwater sales tax savings to complete that. We're gonna continue working with the legacy fund. We have another meeting set up this month. And then consideration of equipment replacement and sharing program. Myra, Gina, some more staff we've been working on, looking at how we can save money by sharing equipment. When's the best time to replace that? And so we're going to continue working in that direction. Any questions?
No
Matt-
question.
Matt, I just have a question real quick.
Yeah.
Who is the instructor on Learn to Kayak?
On Learn to Kayak, it was actually,
Ended up being me this time.
yeah, this guy right there.
Yeah, we
So-
donate kayaks for that. So one of Matt's bullet points on the Eagle Scout thing, last Sunday, I had the honor of being at the presentation of our latest round of Eagle Scouts, and when we did that 5 years ago, none of the scouts had projects in Smithville, and now Matt has a list. So when they approach us, the majority of the projects this past Sunday were done here in town. And I met one of the scouts that helped move that shelter back in the day, a long time
Yeah.
ago. And they had walked out there to see it and thought it was great that they had improved that area. We now work with 3 different troops, some that don't even live in Smithville that come up here and do projects. And Girl Scout troops that do trees
Yeah.
and other things for us. So
Eagle Scout troops, yeah.
yeah, in the Lake Remote area as well. So
Thank you.
yeah, Learn to Kayak. I think this is the 4th year you guys have been doing that with previous owners and myself. Yeah.
All right, how am I gonna get?
All right, Chuck, remember, we don't have all night.
I know, I'm trying to get this to.
You
work.
have 18 minutes.
How do you?
He has a very
No,
bright
I went
tie.
too far.
Did you wear socks?
I did.
See? They're purple socks. Dream of purple socks.
Now what do I do?
Whenever you're ready, just leave it there when you're ready.
This one? Technology. Good evening. Your public. That ain't gonna work. Your Public Works Department is several departments and several funds, so I'll be up here for a couple minutes, but beginning with the general fund, including the street division and administration. We have 7 people, including our street superintendent and our street division. And our key accomplishments, typically, we provide project administration and inspection services for all public infrastructure and private development projects. We maintain the condition of your streets, including street sweeping, snow removal, and storm sewer maintenance. One of our main undertakings when I first got here, my 100 day, I think it ended up like 120-day report because of COVID, was about GIS. We have got our base map in, showing our water and our sewer and our storm water. Still needs some work. There's still some holes, but we're working on them as we come across them. This year, we also did a sidewalk inventory. We did a street sign inventory. Our pavement condition is out there. Our stormwater outfalls are out there. Our snow routes and other road maintenance information is all out there. A lot of that's open for the public to see. Our water and sewer lines aren't. We don't want people, backing their trailers up to our manholes and dumping their waste in there or getting into our water system. But it's been helpful for developers. It's been helpful for our engineers to develop projects as well. So we're getting there. It's a long road to get to where we need to be. And I think, Jack, did you get your planning and zoning stuff on there? So all that's on there. We've got ownership. I mean, you don't have to pull up the county's information. You can pull up our information. So anyway, so we're working on that and we'll continue to work on that. We did implement salt brine for pre-treatment this year for snow removal. We secured 3 marked grants for 3 projects, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. And we performed a lot of easement acquisition for several projects this year. Nope.
I'm just gonna jump in real quick as Chuck works with technology. On the easement acquisition, I mentioned that earlier on 144th Street, and that is a massive acquisition project. We've not had as many acquisitions to acquire in years past, until this project. But by having Chuck and Myra in-house working on that, we're saving money that we've in the past had used in using a consultant. It also means people are discussing and negotiating those land values with city staff as opposed to an outside agent. So we know exactly what discussions have gone on. So that facilitates those discussion and understanding of what is happening. You will also see some impact. Actually, I think, I can't remember if it's in here or not, but in 2024, we do have some thoughts about property acquisition as well for some additional funding.
Oh, yeah. So in 2024 discussion points, as Matt mentioned, we want to continue or have consideration of the equipment replacement and sharing program. A lot of common pieces of equipment that don't get used between the departments. No reason why we can't be sharing them, but we do need some pieces of equipment. We can't forget the needs of a new public works facility and a parks and rec facility. And we need a new salt storage facility. When I first got here in 2000, that was one of the main things, but we kind of pushed it along because we keep thinking we're going to do a bigger project and include it in that, but we do need to keep that in mind as well. Continue funding for the annual street maintenance program. We're going to do our third round of our pavement condition index next year. We should see those averages start going up. I mean, there's a lot of miles of street and we only affect so many miles, so it's only going to go up a little bit, but we should be seeing an improvement. And then we've got several large projects getting ready to start. In the city administrator's report tonight, you'll see we've got actually a project website where we've actually put door hangers on people's doors. Here's the project website. Here's the QR code. Here's how you can find out when we're going to be in your neighborhood, what we're going to be doing this week. We're going to update that weekly with all of our projects so people know what's going on. They can do it off their phone. So people who don't have a computer, but we know they got a phone, can get on there and see what the status is and when we're going to be affecting them. Water and sewer. The utilities department is probably one of the larger departments in the city. It has several departments, including, let's jump to the next slide. Including our water production, wastewater treatment, and our operations group, which is our water distribution and sewer collection. Our number one goal is always to provide safe drinking water for the community and to treat all of our sanitary sewer needs, meeting all of our standards set by DNR and EPA. For the first 6 months of 2023, so it'd be like October of 22 to April of 23, we treated 192 million gallons of drinking water, and we treated 78 million gallons of wastewater. Smiths Fork Campground is online. That was a pretty big project. We've got our floating aerator online and digester 1. We completed the construction of Winter Avenue Waterline project. Our slip line project, which is another discussion point, well, that's done. Another 4,100 feet of sewer that's been slip lined. Our raw water pump is online now with our copper ion generator. And the staff has inspected and conducted weekly preventative maintenance on 31 pump stations and had 24 water line breaks that they've addressed. First 6 months, we've already done 1,000 utility locates and almost 1,000 work orders. And that's kind of during the winter months. It will really pick up during the summer here. So I think last year they had 5,000 by the end of the year. So as far as utility locates, so that really moves a lot quicker. Discussion points. So our slip line program is really making a difference. In the past, I've talked with Dave Sugar, our operations manager. They used to run 15 sewer runs per month from backups. Now they are down to just a few a year because we're addressing those sewer lines. The ones that they're probably a clay tile, old cast that we're lining them with now smooth plastic liner. And we're not getting the root intrusion. We're not getting the buildups that we used to get. So it's really gone down. So we really want to continue that program. bar screen for the wastewater treatment plant. We've all seen we need an emergency purchase. We have a bad valve stuck, the pump's plugged, and we pull them out and we get all these rags. We had the diffuser that we couldn't even get air out of, and that's why we had to get the new floating aerator. And so ideally, we would put a great $4.5 million bar screen at the beginning of the plant, but we found a bar screen that we might be able to retrofit into the exact same spot, which will still provide us better than what we're doing now. So that we want to have that discussion. It's not cheap, but it's not $4.5 million. I think it's about 300. 144th Street Lift Station, West Bypass. We should be able to get that out to bid in late fall. It's just the condemnation and negotiation process just takes a long time. And that's if we don't come to settlements with everybody sooner. But we're down to 4. So, and then we've got our 5-year capital improvement program. And the big projects that are coming up are the wastewater plant expansion. Want to do some engineering next year. And the water plant expansion, and I think that's 27, 28. Yeah. So that's not that far away. And all that is paid through our utility rates that we will be reviewing. And then our transportation sales tax, another part of our funding source. The sales tax is used for the purpose of constructing, reconstructing, repairing, maintaining streets, sidewalks, and trails, city-owned parking lots, and bridges. In progress, so we've got out to bid our microsurfacing program, which is along Spellman and 172nd, Old Jefferson Highway, and 180th. That work bid early, but the work is better to be done later in the summer. That way the microsurfacing sets up quicker and we can get traffic on it easier. The crack sealing should be happening probably in June. We're trying to hold the microsurfacing off till end of July, maybe August, because it goes past 4th Street. And when we do 4th Street, we're going to be running trucks in and out of that intersection at Spellman and 4th, and microsurfacing needs to be done after that if we can do that. We want to continue our street sweeping program. It's an important item in our stormwater permit. And then we just took bids today on our sidewalk replacement program up on Liberty Road. We got good bids on that. 4th Street and 4th Terrace. They were going to start Monday, but it was rainy. Obviously, we can't start today because it's mud. So we're looking at maybe getting started maybe tomorrow, but that project is out on the website. Use the QR code. You can see what the schedule and stuff is, and we're trying to keep that updated. And then Quincy, we bid, Mino Brothers got that bid, and we're having our pre-construction meeting Friday to get that project kicked off. So discussion points, maintaining our street maintenance program. We need to talk about our sidewalk replacement program, including an ADA component. Our striping program. In 2024, what we're going to propose is some select roads in Harborview based on our PCI. There's several roads up there that need to be resurfaced. When we do that, we want to do the curbs, we want to do some drainage, some storm sewer work as well. Commercial street sidewalk from basically Meadow up to the high school. That is under engineering right now, and we want to get that bid in 2024 as well. And all these basically lead to improvement priorities based on comprehensive evaluations, including all the infrastructure. Which infrastructure pushes the project? If we have a pothole, does that mean we do the water line just because we're overlaying the street? If we need to replace the water line, do we have to do the street? Which one's going to push which? Because there's a lot of needs out there. And then do we add sidewalks? We'll be talking about Dundee here in a minute. Do we need sidewalks up on Dundee? Are we going to put sidewalks on every street? How do we start looking at this? Because we're getting to that point, these things are costing a whole lot. And creating a lot of chaos with the budget because these projects get to be pretty big. So what's our next fund? Capital Improvement Sales Tax Fund. This is a larger fund that was voted on in 2018 by the citizens, and it was for capital maintaining and operating and financing capital improvement projects. Some of the key projects that were completed: Amory Road, Second Creek Bridge, 180th Street Trail, Commercial Street Sidewalks, Main Street Trail, and the Streetscape project. Our Streetscape Phase 3 project is still up at MoDOT being reviewed. I'm hoping by the time I get back, we will have a bid date of late June, so we can bring that to you in July. So we still plan on getting that done this year. It will just be later into the fall. In 2024, we've got 3 projects, either the MARC projects. We need to start engineering on them. The Second Creek sidewalk, which will go from Cedar Lakes all the way to 169. We got our First and Bridge Street roundabout, and then our Riverwalk trail, which will swing around from on the west side of 169 and probably swing around the property that the city owns there under 169 and then come on up and tie into Heritage Park. All 3 projects will start engineering in 24. Depending on the project, they'll be bid in 25 and 26. Parks and stormwater. This is a shared sales tax. Matt and I share it. Matt's using most of it, but I'm going to catch up. But it's for the purpose of maintaining and funding and financing parks and rec needs and stormwater control. This year, it was late, but we completed our stormwater needs assessment, and last week we cleared a blockage that was identified on the Owens Branch stream. That was real economical to do, but it should help some of that backup on Owens Branch. It will not stop the 100-year flood when the river backs up, but they should see some relief on, regular rains. Byra's developed an illicit discharge and elimination plan, which was needed for our MS4 permit. That will be bringing back to you probably later in June, 1st of July. And we're initiating some stormwater projects on Quincy, Bridge Street, and 4th Street. All of those had drainage issues, and we're using some of the stormwater sales tax to support some of those expenses. And I'll let Matt come up and talk about what he did in parks.
So as we talked about earlier, we were able to complete Diamond Crest Park playground sidewalk and fencing improvements. We have a few grants out there. We've completed the RTP grant application for the OK Railroad. That was previously Diamond Crest Trail. It's in that same park as Diamond Crest playground there. They've supposed to find out about that grant hopefully in the next couple of months. Around the same timeline, we had to push the funding for Emerald Ridge Park because of the timeline of the LWCF grant. That's for the park and park amenities there, playground and park amenities. Can't take full of this one. Chuck and Myra, and I think a little bit of Gina also, we all work together to get the MARC funding for the Riverwalk Park and Trail. That's $900,000. That'll hopefully be coming here in 2027, I believe. And then we've finished installing the park boulder signs around city parks. We had 3 more come in this time. This was a recommendation by the Parks and Rec Committee. We didn't do every single one because we have some future construction that'll be happening. So we just didn't want to be tied down just in case it had to be moved. So all successful things coming to the stormwater. We're excited for the next year. So. Yeah. So for discussion points, we want to continue implementing year 3 of the Parks and Rec Master Plan with the updates to Emerald Park neighborhood. We really like to pursue the OK Railroad Trail construction. If grant funding comes through, there's a little piece that we'll need to use out of the Parks and Stormwater to complete that. And then consideration of resurfacing Heritage Park and Smiths Fork Park playgrounds with some of the sales tax funds attached to in lieu of dedication fund there.
And then on the stormwater side, from our needs assessment, they divided that basically into maintenance projects and CIP projects. The CIP projects are larger, but maintenance projects, Woods Court, Rock Creek, and Northeast, what is that, 158? That's a long ways to look. Anyway, and then in our CIP projects, Stonebridge, Dundee, Forest Oaks, Cedar Lakes, and Maple Lane, they're all laid out in basically a 5-year plan, depending on the size and scope of those projects. And like I said earlier, you know, the comprehensive look, when we get to Forest Oaks, we're going to be replacing some storm sewer, some curbs, sidewalk. Water line? These projects get really big, really fast, so we need to kind of think about that a little bit. And then finally is our solid waste fund, our sanitation fund. And I just learned this. I didn't know what GFL stand for, Green for Life. I didn't know that. I just thought it was GFL. So right now we are working with GFL to get new rates for 2024. We're going to retain our 2 citywide bulky pickups. We want to continue to retain the recycling drop-off, which seems to be a huge success, maybe too much of a success because it seems like it's always over full. We asked for 1 dumpster, now we've got 2, and I don't know, it just seems like it's always full. We've had great participation in our e-waste events that we've held in the last couple of years, e-waste and shredding events. That's all been done as part of this solid waste contract with GFL. And just an FYI, in late August, I believe it is, of 23, we will host our second household hazardous waste event as well. So we are looking for volunteers. So if anybody's interested in volunteering that day, contact Myra. And that's all I have.
Thanks, Chuck.
With this last slide here, that wraps up our department review for tonight. Before you is the fiscal year 2024 budget process schedule. So as you all know, we'll head off site tomorrow for our Board of Aldermen retreat, discuss the priorities, look closer at the CIP and talk about the budget in some more detail. June 6th, we'll have our 5-year capital improvement program review and discussion. So it'll be a formal discussion of each fund, the projected cash flows, and what projects you all want to prioritize in the future for those funds. July 18th, we'll have our schedule of fees review and discussion. It's at that time we'll review the proposed fee changes, and that'll also include a discussion and look at utility rate recommendations. And then in August and September, we'll hold a first and second discussion if needed, of our operating budget and 5-year CIP. That'll be our formal review and opportunity to provide more input from the board at that time. And then we aim to adopt that budget on second reading on October 17th. So about 5 months out from that point at this time. So.
Thank you. Any questions? With that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Do we have a second? Thank you. All in favor of adjourning, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. Stand adjourned. We got about 6 minutes. We need probably take 10 just because we've been here for an hour and a half.
You owe me 60.